what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to Marvel's Spider-Man here on the K-Wings Let's Plays channel, and today we're looking at Amazing 15, August 1962, the comic book Spider-Man costume in all its cel-shaded glory. It's time to swing into action with more Spider-Man on K-Wings Let's Plays.
Wow, this looks amazing.
I know, right? And the fact that it's a kind of cartoony costume in like a real-world setting, it has like kind of like that Roger Rabbit feel to it. Like, you know, animation in a real-world setting. It's really cool. That's great. So, you guys shouldn't get any spoilers from the game. This is after the game, so yeah, there's just a bunch of enemies and stuff like that.
I thought it was gonna look like kind of like CGI, like 3D, you know how they have like Nicktoons and stuff, but no, this is like all like looks like animated, drawn on kind of thing.
Kind of, but
really cool.
It's not really the... Some people call this the cartoon Spider-Man costume. This is definitely more of the comic book one because you can see the webbing underneath his armpits, which is something that was pretty big in the, I would say, 60s and 70s Spider-Man.
Oh, I see. So he's one of the first
yeah, he is.
Spider-Man
this is the
comics.
first appearance one. So, August 1962, Amazing Fantasy. And you guys all know Spider-Man's origin. It's pretty much remained consistent all these years later.
Yeah, it's amazing. His costume hasn't really changed too much over the years.
Nope. It's just, this one was a little bit darker in the 60s because of, you know, how the suit was and stuff like that. The inking that they had.
Now I see, when we were talking in that other game, Spider-Man, and you were saying that one, they were going to have that one costume originally that was going to look more like the comics. This looks like that costume that they almost had for that one movie. I can't remember what movie it was, but yeah, that's really cool.
I really like this suit. You have to be close to, I think, a level 45 to get the suit.
We're gonna need a bigger transport van.
Oh yeah, got all the tokens.
This is amazing.
And we're actually working towards getting the Last Stand Spider-Man, which is Peter Parker's costume from a far-flung future that's kind of like a terrible thing happens, like his wife and his aunt and everybody dies, and he's kind of like accused of committing murder for destroying one of his, you know, arch enemies or something like that.
Wow.
Dance off.
Dance off.
Dance off. Yeah, well, this is so amazing looking because it kind of looks like he's in a real world setting, but it's not actually a photograph. It's actually all done on the computer, so it's so weird that the contrast is making this look like it's a real world. Yeah, that's cool.
It's awesome. I mean, I would like to see all the characters end up becoming cel-shaded, like just like that one time where in Arkham where they had the animated series suit to kind of like tribute, you know, 20 years of the show or whatever. This suit, I mean, it kind of looks like the 90s and 80s Spider-Man cartoon suit, but with a few differences. The 90s suit was a lot lighter blue, and it didn't have so much of like the, you know, the black outline with the you know, that kind of shadowy look to it.
Yeah.
That's very 60s. But at the same time, I mean, the suit just looks fantastic. I love the cloth design of it. And it's just like, it's definitely one of the better suits in this game. It looks a little weird if Peter takes off his mask, you know, in the story wearing this costume.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just kind of like
Probably
how...
because Peter would just look like a normal,
yeah,
like,
Peter,
part of this environment.
Peter looks like part of this game, yeah.
Whereas he should probably look more cartoony with his face if it was really accurate.
Yeah. But I'm still hoping that maybe they can patch this and have all the characters appear cel-shaded once you activate the cel-shaded thing. Because it'd be a nice nod to Ultimate Spider-Man and, you know, the comic book Spidey and stuff like that.
That would be cool.
So anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed our Spider-Man story. We're currently doing side missions if you want to check that stuff out. And well, also, our next big superhero game is Lego DC Villains starting October 16th. So we hope you guys will stay tuned for that.
So excited.
I know, it's going to be pretty awesome. They've got a lot of animated series stuff that's happening with Mark and Kevin in the game, as well as they're actually going to have Ben Affleck's Lego and Henry Cavill and the Justice League and stuff like that, which is kind of weird because the biggest news today is Henry Cavill is probably going to play Bond. Like,
Oh wow.
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad for him that his career's gonna go well, but I would have loved him as Superman for several movies.
Oh yeah. He
It's
didn't
just-
really get we only got to see him as grumpy Superman. We didn't get to see
Yeah.
you know the character change, but
Yeah.
according to Warner Brothers, he has one more unless they, you know, he wants to do both Bond and Superman. I mean, the guy's able to do whatever he wants. Usually, the problem with comic book roles, when you take on a role like that they're trying to make like super iconic and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you can't really take on a lot of roles afterwards because you are that company's Superman or Iron Man, so you always have to be available. Part of the reason why Robert Downey Jr. hasn't been able to do a lot of other movies, like he's wanted to do another Sherlock Holmes movie and some other things like that, is he always has to be on Marvel's beck and call because he's Iron Man.
Oh my gosh, that is frustrating.
So while people love the MCU movies, at the same time, a lot of the actors don't.
That's yeah.
Because they become those characters, and you know.
That's probably why they probably end up wanting to get killed off, because then they don't have to keep doing it forever.
Well, they're calling that the next Avengers movie Avengers Endgame, so they're probably going to end up killing most of the principal cast. I just find it funny that Robert Downey Jr. a couple months ago was talking about promoting a new Sherlock Holmes movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in that movie, the second one that he did, he and Moriarty fell off a waterfall, and it kind of ended with Jude Law, Watson, talking about Sherlock Holmes' life and writing about it, like in terms of a novel or something like that. But Sherlock,
Yeah.
he kind of disappeared.
I didn't actually see those movies, so I don't really know.
I only saw the second one. The first one was really weird. I thought the second one was
Where did
interesting.
you see the second one? Where's I never...
Amazon Prime.
Oh, you must have watched it without me.
Attention, Sable Team. Need
Yeah,
immediate
it was back when I was pulling the Midnight Oil.
Checkpoint is active. Full battle rattle.
But
Yeah.
in the comment section below, guys, out of all the suits in this game, what are your least favorites? Let us know, because there are 20-something suits.
I think it was difficult for me to see those new Sherlock Holmes movies. I was used to the old Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes, and also the Michael Caine Sherlock Holmes.
You mean the parody?
Yeah. Which is probably my favorite.
Michael Caine was beautiful in that movie, even though it was a joke. It was great.
That's my favorite Sherlock Holmes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. I am really surprised that they did not have the new Marvel Spider-Man skin in this game to hype up the cartoon, but the new cartoon that they released in 2017 is terrible. I mean, I didn't really like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon either. It was too, like... I think the disconnect for the audience with that was the fact that the character was, like, breaking the fourth wall too much. You know? He was just
right.
kind of messing with things
Just
a little
all
bit.
over the place.
Right. It was like too many. It's not that the quipping was bad. That was hilarious. But the fact that, like, it felt like
He was doing it too much.
at least 3 minutes he would do the Zach Morris thing where he stopped time
Oh, yeah.
and talked to the camera with some type of weird
But he
joke.
would just do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
The reason why it worked so well in the Saved by the Bell thing and it became like a running gag is because Zach would do it, you know,
every once in a while.
every once in a while. Yeah, he wouldn't kill the joke.
Right. He didn't overdo it.
All right, you guys gonna interact with Spidey? Probably not. All right, so we're gonna go do a base thing just because I really like the base challenges. They're a lot of fun.
Cool.
And technically you're completing side quest stuff, although we will have some more side quest episodes for you guys soon. We just did Taskmaster, if you want to check that out, where we took him down using the anti-ox suit, which is kind of cool. Up you go, Spidey.
It's so cool that this image doesn't even look very flat either. Like, it's just it works so well. You can tell it's a drawing, but at the same time, it doesn't look totally flat. Like, it doesn't look weird or anything.
I also like how his eyes aren't white; they're kind of yellow, like to match comic book paper and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It just makes his skin pop so much.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna deal with these terrorists, guys.
Prison for City Hall.
Boom.
Our brothers are guilty.
But yeah, I mean, I never.
Better world.
I mean, that's probably why, like, Henry Cavill isn't doing, or if he's gonna quit Superman, he's probably gonna get away from the Superman curse or the.
Yeah.
When I'm wrong.
JJ.
And while I hoped his efforts in the recent crisis meant Spider-Man was finally becoming a responsible citizen, a mature adult, I am here to confess I was wrong. I wanted to believe. I hoped it was true. But even a stop clock is right twice a day. And I guess curing the plague was Spider-Man's stop clock moment.
What does that even mean? Spider-Man's still being a hero. So, I was actually thinking about it based on this comic book costume. I remembered my first time that I ever saw Spider-Man. Like, it was actually the cartoon show, one of the cartoon shows from the 80s that first introduced me to the character of Spider-Man.
Oh wow.
It wasn't the comic books. I was like probably 4 or 5 years old, and I was just sitting down watching TV, playing with my G.I. Joes and He-Man figures, and I think my grandmother was channel flipping, trying to find something for me to watch that was like the Smurfs or something. Yeah,
Your grandma's so sweet.
Right, and she ended up going to the kitchen, and she put on... Actually, it wasn't my grandmother. I think it was my aunt. Like, one of my aunts. One of my Portuguese aunts. And she was just flipping through TV, and I was there with my little cousin, and my sister was taking a nap, or whatever, but she put on... Just because my grandma was very particular about what cartoons I was allowed to watch, because she believed that cartoons were... A lot of 80s cartoons were violent, which I would argue with her today that 80s cartoons taught, like, morals, and, you know, they were completely different than what cartoons in the 90s became. Like, more centered around action and stuff like that. Like, it felt like there was a purpose to the action and to the storytelling and all that other stuff. But anyway, my aunt was trying to put something on to keep the kids quiet, and she turned on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and she thought it looked harmless enough. You know, it had like 70s music. I think that's what attracted her to it. Like, that she thought it would be okay, because it was like, you know, the mid 80s.
Hey, is this roof taken?
And I saw this really weird episode where Spider-Man was working with a guy made of ice and this girl who could turn into a fire being.
Oh yeah.
And I wasn't even a video gamer yet, but there was an entire episode dedicated to Spider-Man and the Iceman trying to fight like this video game character.
Ooh.
And it was really hokey. It was really weird.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
But that was my first introduction to Spider-Man, and I believe
So
that
much for the opening act.
I might have
Main
saw
event's
Spider-Man
inside.
before Batman, but I don't know, I didn't get into it as much as Batman did. Like, because Batman was something that my dad would watch with me, the Adam West show, and also the Super Friends.
Yeah.
So,
Let's dive right in. MJ, I'm at the 4th place on your list. They're not even trying to pretend they're legit.
It's just sad when criminals don't take pride in their work anymore. I'll see what I can find out.
I know, right?
Yeah, I forgot about
You're done.
these Super Friends. 'Cause Batman is super friends with everyone.
Well, in the 80s, he had a different show. It was called the Superpowers Team. It wasn't really... The Super Friends was dying out because they were trying to give Batman a cartoon pilot. And they actually did some pretty edgy things for, like, 1985. They had... 85, 86. For the first time ever, they did a Batman origin from the comic books, showing that Batman had lost his parents. And they did it in a way that was actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
To show the violence of what happened, they would use lightning to kind of like visualize the firing of a gun. like a real weapon,
Wow.
and to show like that Batman's parents were gone, you know, and he had to deal with like the episode was called The Fear. Famous episode. It was the first time that a superhero had their origin shown on television.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bold.
Pretty cool.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, Superman, Spider-Man... Well, I mean, Spider-Man had his origin showed, not in a cartoon, but in the Spider-Man live-action show from the 70s, which I didn't see until the early 90s because of a Thanksgiving special with Nicholas Hammond playing as Peter Parker.
I didn't know they had a live-action series.
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Oh, okay. I guess I must have forgot. I'm sorry.
Well, we've done 13 Spider-Man games, so I mean, it's come up a couple times. Because I really thought that was my first introduction to Spider-Man through that.
Yeah.
But actually it was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I saw for the first time in place of watching the Smurfs and something else.
Hey, you loved Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
I did. It was funny.
You used to watch that with me a lot.
So...
Peter, that business is listed as an importer of computer parts.
Huh. I didn't know they'd started making laptops out of guns.
So it's an armory?
Not for long. I'm about to get some payback for Jeff Davis and everyone else they killed at City Hall.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people ended up getting, killed at City Hall. But one of the cool things about this suit I forgot to mention as well, you see in the top corner where it says quips, the spider power for this suit is you have the ability for Spider-Man to insult the bad guys, like the comic books.
Oh.
And he has a lot of special quips, like
That's
just for the
funny.
suit, as well as like a lot of repeats that you'll hear during the game. And I mean, it doesn't make you more powerful, it just kind of aggravates the enemies and it's funny. So I have been quipping a little bit.
That is funny. So your power is literally quipping power.
I know.
More of them! Good! I meant to ask you, how do you deal with sneezing in your masks? Big problem for me.
See? So
Singing in your mask.
We're on casual Friday.
Oh my
that's all it is.
gosh.
It's just you build up your focus meter, and then after a while you can hit the button where Spider-Man is quipping. It's pretty funny. Boom. Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Whoa!
It seems to help him be equipped to handle these guys.
Ah, I see what you did there. That was clever.
And together we can bring peace and prosperity to the city. No? It was worth a shot.
But see how like some of the quips are different than the main game? It's like a special feature because comic book Spidey, what made him stand out from all the other heroes at the time is he was a teenager, so he liked to run his mouth. It gave him kind of like confidence because Peter's a shy character, but as Spider-Man,
Oh, I see how it is.
he's a very confident, completely different person than he normally
So
is.
it's like his personality comes out when he's in his suit. Yeah, kind of like me a little bit, because I'm kind of shy in real life, but then
When you do the YouTube thing, yeah.
I'm a little like different. I just talk about whatever I feel like.
Uh-oh. Whip guy. Now, the whip guy, there's a couple ways that you can fight him that I found like during the main game, and one of those ways of dealing with that is you can throw objects at him once in a while.
Yeah.
You can also do a perfect dodge to avoid him.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh. See, they should really have the enemies take out the other guys.
Never tested on animals. Just losers like you.
Boom, baby.
Yeah.
Good times. You're done. Thanks for playing.
Good job, Spidey. Isn't me or does his spider sense look different in the cartoon suit?
Yeah.
It's probably the same. I don't know.
No, the spider sense they make a little bit more comic booky too. It's pretty awesome. It's a great suit.
Yeah.
MJ, everything's quiet here now.
You didn't get too carried away, did you? What they did was horrible, but you're not.
Oh yeah, we got all the tokens.
Woo!
So we're getting closer
job.
to unlocking the awesome suit that is Last Stand Spidey, which is a much older, grizzled Peter Parker. And a little
Yay.
Spider-Man news for you too. Nicolas Cage is coming back to voice another superhero. He's going to play Noir Spider-Man in Spider-Verse, which is coming out this Christmas.
Well,
the Miles Morales like animated movie. Like he's going to be one of the Spider-Men in it, and he's actually going to be doing like a Bogart impression for the 4D Spider-Man, which is going to be kind of awesome.
oh, cool.
But there you go, guys and gals. That is the comic book Spidey. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you think about this suit. We'll be back with more costume showcases and lore pretty soon. Thanks for watching.
See ya!